Hi, I'm Dustin Abbott, and several months back I did a review of the Explorer 300 from Jackery, the company that makes a lot of these portable power solutions along with solar panels like the SolarSaga 100. And at the time, I really focused on the Explorer 300 as it applied to, I think in terms of size and its abilities, to a lot of different photography-related applications. But I mentioned at the time that I was interested in looking at one of their larger units because of the increased flexibility for just basically doing more things, including dealing with power outages that happen periodically around here. And because of where I'm located, I end up not just losing power during outages, but I also lose communications because cell coverage is spotty here. And I end up losing both router, not just my wireless router, but also my telephone service because it's all through a cable input. On top of that, I have a well, and so I lose the ability to have running water. So not fantastic. So I really was interested in one of the larger units like the Explorer 1000, which I'm looking at here today, or the 1500 as being a solution in those settings, and determined that the Explorer 1000 would be large enough to handle the basic functions that I have going on. And so I've had a chance over the last about 6 weeks to spend some time with the Explorer 1000 and to put it through some different kind of paces, along with some of the standard tests that I did with the Explorer 300. And this is a unit that is actually really popular in their lineup with a lot of people. They've got page after page of 5-star review because it really seems to hit kind of a sweet spot for people that are either preppers, people that camp or do something which I hadn't heard of before called boondocking. And but they're people that need portable power solutions. I noted a lot of people which were looking for a solution for running like their CPAP machine while they were in a situation where they didn't have power, maybe camping or something similar. And so as a byproduct of that, this is a unit that has been really popular. And after spending time with it, I think that I can understand why. So first of all, obviously it is significantly larger in size and portability from the Explorer 300. And so whereas this one came in at about 7 pounds, a little under 3 kilos, this one is more like 10 kilos, about 22 pounds. And so it is a little bit more hefty, but I will note that like before, because it has a good carrying handle and it has a decent shape that also has rounded corners, it doesn't bang off things as much, that it's actually not too bad to move around, but obviously you wouldn't want to have to pack this thing too far. It also has an additional feature in that it has an LED light on the side, which is useful for a lot of reasons. First of all, if you're camping, for example, you might be trying to set up in the dark, so being able to just locate it in the right place is going to be handy for that. As far as some other features that it also has an additional AC outlet here on the front. So we have a total of 3 AC outlets. And what's interesting here, and what makes this really kind of versatile for a lot of things, is that it's rated up to 1,000 continuous watts of AC output, but it can handle peak surge power of double that, so 2,000 watts, which dramatically increases the amount of things that you can run off of it. So for example, one of the things that I was interested in testing is that our blender we use every morning, basically we use a Ninja professional blender because we do a morning smoothie. And so I was interested to see it's rated on, right on the front, it says it's rated at 1,100 watts. So I was interested to see how it would work and if the Explorer 1000 could support it. And so we did everything as normal, plugged it in. And so our first cycle, there's 2 cycles that we run it through. The first cycle, it is on high as it chops everything up and does the initial blend. And during that time, I saw a peak surge of right over 900 watts, and then it settled in, once the motor was spooled up, very quickly settled down into the, high 300s, around 400 watt range. And so obviously no problem there. And then our second cycle is run at a lower setting because we add protein and we just want to blend it in without things getting frothy. And so as a byproduct of that, I saw a very brief surge of 300 watts and then settling in to about 190 watts of draw. So absolutely no problem. And on top of that, I started with 100% charge. After we did our smoothie, it was still at 100% charge. And so at that rate, we could use it all month for the way that we typically use it and probably not have to recharge the unit. So pretty cool there. In fact, I see, as you can see from this chart, that there's a lot of different things that you can run, and they give kind of an estimated runtime. A blender that's drawing 500 watts, which I would say is probably even on the high side of what I would draw in that kind of setting. From what I saw, you can run about 2 hours straight. Well, if you think about how long you typically typically use a blender. That's quite a long time. And so it's just one illustration of how that AC power can be really, really handy. Another application that I saw that was actually really interesting to me is that I am in the middle of a major construction project for the church that I pastor. And so one day I took the Explorer 1000 in along with one of the SolarSaga panels, and I put all of several of the chargers, 3 different chargers for my power tools on there. And so primarily Milwaukee M18s. One of those was a 9 mAh battery pack, so a big one. And then I think I had a 4 or 5 hooked up, and then a smaller like 2. And so anyway, over the course of that, I had one SolarSaga there. I had this running. The light was good that day, nice and bright. And so as a byproduct of that, I was actually able to charge all of my batteries simultaneously while also taking the state of charge over the course of a few hours from about 80% up to 100%. And so I was pretty impressed by this as a job site tool. And I will note that there are a number of power tools that you could actually run off of this, but think more tools like, jigsaw level, and not so much tools like your major chop saw. And so anyway, that was another application I thought could be really interesting if you happen to work on remote job sites. A way to keep your tools powered up and even to run some electric powered tools could be an interesting application for this. So obviously that's great. I did also note that there is an additional USB-C port compared to the 300. And so you've got a total of 4 USB ports that can be used for powering things. And then like before, you have a DC port here for, we'll call them car type accessories, and there's an adapter for that to where you can charge things based off of that, or you can charge the unit itself from that adapter that has come. If you're driving and you want to maybe charge this as you're driving, there is an adapter included that allows you to charge from that. So speaking of charging, you've got 3 different options for how to charge this. The first of those is, through AC power. So, plugged into a plug in your home, and that takes about 7.5 hours to do 100% charge. To get to from 0 to 80% charge takes about 5.5 hours. Then you can charge it in the car, 14 hours for a full 0 to 100 charge there. And then it's your solar panels are going to depend on how you do it, and so or depend on the input that you get. And so with a single SolarSaga, you're going to be looking at something like 15, 16 hours to get a full charge. However, the Explorer 1000 has an Anderson input that allows you with an adapter to actually connect 2 of the SolarSaga panels to it. And in that rate, you can actually do a full charge in more like 8 or 8.5 hours because you can get so much more input coming into it. And so not really a whole lot longer than AC. Now, obviously with solar, it's going to be somewhat dependent on the kind of input you get. Now, I did test because I was interested. I have 2 panels right now, and so I hooked one up to each one of these units, and I saw the input of what they were receiving under those conditions. So when I tested it, it was kind of an overcast day, so not the best day for charging. And so I saw basically 40 to 42 watts coming into both of these. And then I did the combining of the 2 panels into, through the Anderson input into this, and I saw it jump to 84 to 86. So it basically just exactly doubled what I was getting before, which I was actually encouraged to see because it means you're not getting a power loss in using that adapter. You're still getting really good efficiency from the panels. Another thing that was just kind of interesting to me is that I actually, side by side, under the exact same conditions, actually always saw a little bit better state of charge coming into the Explorer 1000. So I don't know if it's a little bit more efficient in handling that input than the 300, but I always saw an average of about 3 watts more coming into this relative to the 300. So interesting there. And I also saw higher peak off of one panel. I saw as much as 114 watts coming in registered on that, which is definitely the most that I've seen. And so obviously you can get a lot of power from that, and I love that being able to get power back from the sun in that kind of way. Now, when it comes to more typical applications like phone or charging a camera, charging my Alpha 1 or my EOS R5, first of all, I've had some issues in the past because both of those run off of a power delivery standard, but it doesn't seem to be the exact same power delivery standard. What I mean by that is I can't use the same charger and charge cord to charge them both. I've got one that works for the Alpha 1 but doesn't work for the R5, and then ditto. But fortunately, however these deliver power, I've actually have no problem. I can use the exact same cord. I can charge both of them off of either one of these units. And in this case, with this huge battery capacity, I took my Alpha 1 from about 20% charge to 100% charge, and I saw only a drop of 2% off of this. And so obviously that's huge. Charging my phone, it's less than 1%. They say you can get 100 charges, recharges of that. And so obviously it's a lot of battery power. And so a lot of versatility for how you can charge and the types of things that you can actually run off of this. So if it's something even if it runs rated at higher than 1,000 watts, as long as that initial surge is under 2,000 watts, and then, its continual draw is then under 1,000 watts, you're going to be able to run this just fine. It didn't even blink when I did use the blender. And, the thing is that it's smart enough that it will shut itself down if, for whatever reason, you do exceed that input. So at the end of the day, I'm impressed with the performance, as I was with the 300, and with the added versatility that is here, because it opens up a huge range of other applications, things that you can do with this. So let's talk price as we wrap things up. This unit is not inexpensive, as you might expect, and so it's going to run somewhere right under $1,100 US for this unit itself. You can get it with one SolarSaga panel for about $1,349, so about an additional $250. And then if you get it in a kit with two of the SolarSaga panels, you can get that for a little over $1,500, I believe about $1,550, which obviously it drops the price per component down the more that you bundle in there. Again, not an inexpensive investment, but if you're looking for a portable power solution, one of the most intriguing things about this approach is, number one, it's, the sustainability. It's not just in some cases, like with a generator, you've got an upfront cost and then you've got the ongoing fuel costs. In this case, your fuel cost is most likely going to be the sun, and so that's nice. But also, this is utterly silent in operation. There's no noise to contend with. There's no exhaust, which means that it's just a lot more versatile in where you can place and use it. And so to me, that's a very, very attractive solution. And I really like the idea of getting power from the sun. So if this is intriguing to you, you can look in the description down below, and I have got a full text review if you want to check that out. Also linkage to some places where you can purchase the Jackery Explorer 1000 or, the other size Explorers and solar panels there as well. So be sure to check that out. Also linkage there to follow myself or Craig on social media. To become a patron, you can check out our new channel, Let the Light In TV. There's also a place there to buy channel merchandise if you're so interested. Beyond that, of course, if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button. Be sure to ring that bell so you get notification when new content drops every week. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and let the light in.